I've really loosened up my definition of a podcast, but I think this one might go too far. And a lot of critics are saying the same thing. And there's a lot of commentary in the podcast community about, is this a podcast or just cheap TV? And I don't want to take anything away from Pete Davidson. I think he's a great comedian. But I think Netflix running with this as a podcast, let's find out if it's problematic or not.
I think we've been dealing with this for years, though. We started off, you and I have been around for a while. We started off with audio podcasts, and an audio podcast was a podcast. A video podcast was, a YouTube channel, or it was some other kind of thing, or it was vlogging, when it first came out. There's always been kind of a difference there. Now the lines have been blurred to where, hey, a YouTube channel can still be a podcast. I think at this point, the way I look at things, and it's just strictly from my standpoint, is that whether or not something's a podcast is more about the intention. I think it's more about the intention, not only of the host, but of the listener. We build podcasts around community, around shared interest, and around, almost a sense of family. That's what podcasts are. That's what successful podcasts are now. And I think that if we use that as a guideline, I think we can kind of decide what's a podcast and what's not.
It's a lot of things that you're talking about. When I start to think about what is a podcast, it has changed so much and evolved. And I've come to mostly favor content that's produced by independent creators. I don't care so much about the Netflixes and the now Hulu's in on podcasting, and HBO does podcasting for their TV shows. I'm not so worried about that. But when it comes time to judge who I'm going to side with, no matter what they create or how they create it or how they distribute it, if it's somebody who's an independent creator who's out there, pushing their own limits, they're doing new things, and they're in control of their destiny. They're in control of the ownership of their media. That's who I'm going to side with, no matter what they want to call a podcast. I'm just grew up skateboarding and punk rock as a full disclaimer, so I'm a big DIY independent guy. So my kind of line has shifted from, it doesn't have to just be an MP3 file distributed by an RSS feed to an aggregator app. It can be something more than that. As long as you're creating it and passionate about it, I'll accept the boundaries that you want to call a podcast.